My name is RJ Villegas, and I'm here to talk to you about our reflection on Module 1 for Management 483. So, we were given 4 tools to talk about. Our first tool is the mirror effect table, and then our strategic logbook, our mirror effect diagnosis. I think that's the mirror effect table. Our competency grid plan, and our organizational memory. So to start off with this first tool, I think the biggest takeaway from this tool is being curious. I know we were shown a Ted Lasso video, and it was at a scene where he's at the bar with Rupert, and he talked about how being curious is always like he kind of talked about how he didn't talk about it, but like it was emphasized that being curious and not judgmental goes a long way. And I think with this mirror effect analysis, it plays a big part, because your biggest thing with this is asking questions, asking what the problem is, and writing down by hand, and writing word for word for what they're saying. This allows them to take the person that you're talking to, take a step back and actually think about what they're talking about and what they are doing, and like kind of reflect on their words before speaking on it. And it helps them like have a clearer language to you when talking about these problems. And asking questions like, what's going on? Tell me more about the story. It makes it more personal, and it creates a level 2 relationship between the person that's you're asking questions to and the person asking questions. And it creates a type of trust, and you're able to go deeper into this conversation, and your mirror effect table will be more effective. I think for me, this helped me be someone new, because it helps me be more curious, and instead of judging someone off something they say, I stop and like ask them what's going on. And when they hit you with a pause and look at you funny, it's kind of like, oh, he's actually like listening, and it kind of gives them that reassurance that they're being heard. And like I said, that creates a level 2 relationship with this. Next, we'll talk about the strategic logbook. It's like breaks it down into four buckets. You have your internal, external, short term, and long term. In that order, I think with the long term, you start with that. You start with lower absenteeism, and then you go into internal, and you process that. Like for absence, I think in class we talked about someone missing work, and then you go to external is trying to create fewer absent hours, and then for short term you change the absence process, or you change the process to like better your long term. So for the example we talked about in class is about missing work. The long term goal was lower like absences. The internal there is process for absence. It's like calling in sick, vacation, emergency. And then the external, they want fewer absent hours. And then the short term is finding ways to minimize absent hours. I think that plays a huge part in the way I think. You find a problem that you want to fix long term, and then you look back internally what's causing this. And then externally is kind of like what you want to accomplish, and then your short-term goal is the process of eliminating, or like in this case lowering absent hours. And for me, I think when you look at problems in the workplace, like let's say eliminating having to go talk to somebody that you don't need to talk to. If you can eliminate that process by going through this logbook, you will be able to have a better opportunity to find your tendencies of when do you go, and like kind of avoid doing that. And it creates a smoother work environment, like smoother workflow is what I'm trying to say. And not only do you check for like end goals, you could keep track of questions that you ask throughout this throughout the process or the logbook. I think being curious, again, like the first tool, is very important in this. It makes it more efficient, and when you ask questions, you get more clarity, and you get down to the nitty gritty. So with the mirror effect table, it shows you what's missing and what you can improve on. With this contingency grid, this is the next tool we're going to be talking about. That helped me become somebody new. It showed me what I can do to resolve it. Now, obviously, there's going to be things I won't be able to resolve, but this will give me something on paper to look at, like what I can manage to do. With this grid, it shows me like what I can do and what I can't do versus someone that I work with and what they can and can't do. And in a way, it creates a process that allows us to work together and like work off our weaknesses and strengths. With this last tool, organizational memory system, this allows me to evaluate the changes I made. I came to realize that I hold on to feedback for too long, and it helps me think about my habits of remembering and forgetting. Like I said, I remember feedback for too long, and I use that, and that's something that I think is a disadvantage. I think, being able to evolve and learn from your mistakes and what you need to improve on can go a long way. And with that, at an organizational level, I think the ability for companies to see what they did wrong and see how far they've come in change, I think that's very important in the success of a business. Obviously, there is some companies out there that have done things that they want to forget. And I think with picking and choosing what memories you want to bring forward is very risky. For example, Volkswagen, I think we talked about this in class, how they were a big Nazi party supporter, and now they're trying to change that. I think it's always the memories that you forget will always trail you, and I find it very interesting that some organizations try to completely forget that, knowing that there's evidence out there where their memory is there, and I find it very interesting. And I think about this from a personal level, all like remembering and forgetting the habits I have there. I tend to forget all the good moments where I'm succeeding, and I think back at and remember the feedback that I've gotten and think about what I can do better. I feel like in today's world, it's good to celebrate your small wins, and I think that goes for a long way in your mental health. And for me, I think that's very important. Thank you guys for sitting here and listening in. I'll catch you guys for Module 2.